Howdy howdy, my name is John, and this video is my book haul for the month of September 2020. I bought a couple books this month, so we'll go through them and see what we've got. I started my BookTube adventure about 4 months ago with the intention of rereading all of the books that I already own. However, I found that it's a little bit difficult to connect with other booktubers when we haven't read the same books in common. So I decided to pick up a few of the newer works and read those. That way people can see what my tastes are in the newer books, and they'll have a little bit more confidence in picking up the older books. You've already seen this book, as I've already done a review on it, but this is Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell. I picked this book up because Mike's Books Review is doing a read-along of the series on his channel, and I watched reviews on Slowly Read's channel and the Library of Alexandria's channel, and I decided that since Slowly Read was going to do a read-along of The Black Company in January, I figured that this would be a good book series to get warmed up on. I was about halfway through the first novel when I just went ahead and decided to pick up the last three in the series so that I could read those as well. I've already read the second one, and that review is probably already up. The next three are selections that I learned about from Slowly Read's channel. First is Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. Next is Annihilation by Jeff Lemire. I have watched the movie with Natalie Portman, and the movie's weird, but it's a good kind of weird. So hopefully I'll enjoy this book as well. Next is Prosper's Demon by K.J. Parker. The next book I picked up, I learned about from Sorcerer's Apprentice Reads. This is The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. The next book, I think I saw this particular book again on Sorcerer's Apprentice Reads, but I also learned a little bit more about the author on Rob C. Reed's channel. This is The Curse of Chalion by Lois Masterbick Joel. This next book has been all over BookTube, but the review that put me over the edge on this was by Katja Weinart, and I apologize if I've mispronounced your name. That book is Evan Winter, The Rage of Dragons. The next book I learned about on the Bookkeeper's channel. This is one of her favorite reads of the year. This is Road to Reckoning by Robert Lochner. The next two books I learned about on the Library of Alexandria. The first is A Shadow in Summer by Daniel Abraham. This is the first book in the Long Price Quartet. The next book is Sinlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. This is the first book in the Books of Babel series. The next book I learned about from the Flipping Pages channel. This is 1 Second After by William Forstchen. This appears to be a retelling of one of my favorite novels, Alas Babylon. When I do plan on reading this novel, I plan on reading Alas Babylon first. The next two books I was reminded of by watching the History Challenge tag of Lana Ex Libris. She was talking in her video about reading about Roman emperors, and that reminded me of a book I read in high school. This is I, Claudius by Robert Graves. It's written as if it were an autobiography. I also picked up the sequel to I, Claudius, which is Claudius the God. I've started the Dragonlance Legends trilogy, and I wanted to pick up some of the books from the Dragonlance saga that I did not own. The sequel to the Dragonlance Legends trilogy is the second generation. That is followed by Dragons of a Summer Flame. The next books in the Dragonlance saga are the War of the Souls trilogy, which I already own. The War of the Souls trilogy is followed by the Dark Disciple trilogy. I also picked up some books that are prequels to the Dragonlance Chronicles trilogy. These two books are the Raceland Chronicles duology. These 6 books are the Prelude series. Each book follows one or two of the main characters of the Dragonlance Chronicles, where the events of the Chronicles take place. The last 2 books of the Dragonlance saga that I picked up are the first 2 books of the Lost Chronicles trilogy. There are events that are mentioned but not written about in the original Chronicles trilogy, and these 3 books fill in the gap. I didn't get a copy of the third one because that was printed in low quantities and copies are fairly expensive. So I'll probably buy that on ebook when I get around to reading the first 2, if I can't find a copy of the third for a reasonable price. The next series of books I picked up are the 4 books in the Foundation series by Isaac Asimov that I did not already own. All 4 of these books were published after the original trilogy, but 2 of these books take place before the events of the Foundation trilogy, and then 2 of these books take place after those events. I plan on reading these novels after I finish the Earthsea series, and I plan on reading these novels in the order of the events as they happened. The last group of books are books that I wanted to pick up for myself. The first one is The Gunslinger, which is book 1 of the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I already owned a copy of the third book in the series because I'd found a good copy in a thrift shop, and I ordered the second book in the series at the same time. When the seller went to fill the order, they determined that their copy of the second book in the series was not in good enough shape to send, so they gave me a refund. If I enjoy the first book, I'll pick up the second book at some point. The next book I picked up is Greener Than You Think by Ward Moore. I first read this novel shortly after I graduated from college, and I really enjoyed this novel. It's about an invention that is designed to increase crop yield, and in an effort to sell this new formula, the salesman sprays it on a patch of Bermuda grass. The Bermuda grass then proceeds to take over the world. The next book is Do-On Mode by Piers Anthony. This is the 4th book in the Mode series, and it was the only one that I did not already own. The next 2 books are first books in series by Piers Anthony that I have not read. The first book is Refugee. This is the first book in the Bio of a Space Tyrant series. The next one is Isle of Woman. This is the first book in the Geodesy series. The last book is a book I did not actually order. I ordered a copy of The Second Generation, a book that I showed you earlier. The book that I received is Next of Kin by David Haas. This is a thriller. The company I bought the book from was kind enough to send me a refund for the book that they did not send, and they told me that I could keep this book. Hopefully at some point I'll read it and see if I want to continue with this author. Wow, that was a lot of books. It may be a while before I get around to doing another book haul. I'm still planning on going to thrift stores. I'm sure I'll pick up books here and there, but really I don't plan on buying more books If there's anything in this book haul that you're excited for me to read, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. The next book I learned about is